20 Pineapple Prodigy.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. We're Team 20 Pineapple Prodigy. I'm Andrew, this is Ian and Anthony, and our advisor is Professor Santosh Venkatesh. We spent the last year working on building software to solve the game Pineapple, which is a card game. It's becoming more and more popular with poker players and in casinos, and it's basically a game that's played with two players playing one-on-one. Each player has a board and a discard pile, and they take turns placing cards on the board. The goal of the game is to make the strongest possible hands in each row. So at the end of each turn, the rows are scored head-to-head, and you win points for making stronger hands than your opponent. Another aspect of the game is that you can earn bonus points for making exceptionally strong hands. And there's a bonus phase of the game called Fantasyland, where you receive all of your cards at the beginning of the turn instead of in different sequences. So that has a lot of value. Three of our main goals for the project were, first of all, to create a program that would be able to analyze this game and, for a given state of the game, pick the best move. A second goal was to build a data analytics toolset to try to analyze different parts of the game and figure out what the theoretical maximums are for what we could get out of the game and what optimal strategies might look like. And finally, our third goal was to create a website where users would be able to sign up, play against their friends, play against our bot, and also learn more about the fun game that is Pineapple and figure out how to start playing better. So now Ian's going to talk about a few of the design choices that we made.
Yeah, so over the course of the 2 semesters, we considered many different implementations for the algorithm for our bot. So on one extreme, there's exhaustive computation, which would mean that we pre-compute the correct move for every single different information state of the game. And this would mean that the bot would be able to play very fast and very accurately. All it would have to do is a lookup to be able to determine the correct move. However, this would take a massive amount of pre-computing and a massive amount of storage, which we found was impractical. So the other end of the spectrum, there's real-time computation, which would require no pre-computing and no storage space, where the bot would be able to compute the correct move in real time while playing. However, we realized that because of the massive game space of this game, there are certain situations where the latency would be far too high to be able to play a reasonable game against our bot. So what we ended up with was somewhere in the middle. We combined pre-computing and caching with some structural logic to be able to create a bot that could play in real time without using too much storage space and without compromising too much precision. So for the algorithm itself, one of the important aspects is this hand abstraction that we did, where we clustered certain very similar situations together and considered them the same situation during our pre-computing. And by doing this, we were able to get the number of game states from about 10 to the 30 down to a reasonable 10 to the 9, which we could compute over in a reasonable amount of time. And then the actual learning algorithm itself is called counterfactual regret minimization. CFR is a self-play algorithm where the bot plays itself over multiple iterations and considers every single possible decision that it could make, and then weights the decisions that lead to positive outcomes more, and over time it will reach a consensus on what moves are better for certain situations. And then in order to deploy the bot, we created a fully functional web app where users can play against the bot and play against each other. And part of the web app is a fully integrated database where we store turn-by-turn data, every single hand played on our site, and we're going to use this data in the future to help our bot learn as well.
So at the beginning of this presentation, Andrew alluded to 3 main goals. And the first one was to create and deploy a bot that we could play against and that could help develop an optimal strategy. So we were successful in this. We created a bot and we launched it on our web app. And we used a self-play algorithm, CFR, to help improve the bot strategy. We were also successful in improving the bot strategy by implementing structural logic. So basically accounting for many situations that the bot would encounter and tell it how to react. We did, however, run into some challenges with the computation space, and resources didn't allow to arrive at as optimal a strategy as we thought we could have previously. Secondly, our second goal was to use data to help inform more nuanced strategies with regards to the game and to learn more about the game. And in this aspect, we were very successful. We created multiple Monte Carlo simulations to help determine certain frequencies of hands in different situations of the game. We also used these Monte Carlo simulations to determine the expected value for Fantasyland, which is a widely debated topic in the world of Pineapple currently, as there's not a consensus on the expected value for this significant sub-tree of the game. We also used these Monte Carlo simulations to determine 5-card hand frequencies to simulate initial starting hands, as well as 3-card hands, which would simulate the middle streets and end streets of the game. Thirdly, we were able to deploy a fully functional web app where you can learn about the analytics that we've performed, learn about the strategies of the game and the basics, and play against friends and our bot. So the next steps of this project would be to research more about the self-play algorithms that are out there and more nuanced implementations in order to cut down on computational time, to help improve the bot's play from what we have currently, which is intermediate level of play, to an expert level of play. And that's regarded as 6.5 royalties per hand. So we started the year at around 2.5, and we got it to 4.5, which is intermediate play. But we weren't able to reach our initial goal of expert because of the computational limitations that we ran into. We also like to use data analytics to kind of give real-time feedback to players as they play our bot, and also use the data sets that we gathered on our site from users playing each other and our bot to help improve the bot's play. These would be the next steps of our project. Now we're going to go through some of the tangible results that we saw over the year. So what you see now is a picture of our web app. This is the homepage where you can learn about what we've done. This is at learnpineapple.com. Secondly, this is what you're seeing now is a graph of the Monte Carlo simulations that we ran to determine the expected value for Fantasyland. What you see in blue is each simulation, and what you see in red is the mean royalties per hand. We consider this to be one of the big breakthroughs in our project because this, again, is something that people really didn't agree on and people really didn't understand how much this was worth. And so we're able to inform more nuanced strategies moving forward and learn more about the game in this way. What you're seeing now are the frequencies for 5-card hands, which is important, again, to help inform beginning stages of play and their strategies. And we've done the same for the middle and end streets as well. And lastly, this is our bot in action on our site at learnpineapple.com, where the user Greg1 is playing against it. So in essence, we had 3 goals. We wanted to launch and improve a bot. We wanted to launch the web app with full functionality, and we wanted to perform data analytics to learn more about the game. And on all 3 fronts, we were successful. Thank you.